When it comes to superheroes and supervillains, the real difference is not good versus evil. It is reacting versus planning. And I want you, dear haunted sack of meats, to be a supervillain, especially when it comes to your health, fitness, wellness plans. Hi, I'm your coach, Melanie Black, and today we're going to be talking about willpower, why it's bullshit, and also how to be your best own supervillain to execute on your plans and take over the world, or at least get to your goals. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so first off, here's the thing about being a supervillain. Okay, everybody thinks of the supervillain as the bad guy, but here's the truth. Supervillains, they plot, they plan, they come up with ideas, and they execute on them. And they are disruptors. They want to change the world. They want to do something different. Anytime you change stuff, you're going to have some heroes swooping in and saying, oh, you're doing this wrong and you're doing that wrong. The heroes are very reactive, right? They see something burn and they're like, oh, I better put it out. Or I better do this, that, or the other thing. While you as a supervillain should be knowing what's going to happen ahead of time and then pushing forward with your plan. Your plan will change things. There will be fallout. There will be shifts. And yeah, this is the reason why this is so important, especially when it comes to things like nutrition and fitness, is that there's a lot of heroes in your life. Okay, there's a lot of people who are going to tell you as you get started with things, because you're going to be changing. You're going to make them feel guilty. You're going to be changing. You're going to be changing how you eat, how you interact, how you do your routines in a day. And there's going to be people saying, oh, you work too hard. You shouldn't worry about that. Or, oh, come on, go off your diet plan. You don't need to be any thinner or whatever it is. But here's the thing. You are the one who has to live in your body. You are the one who has to live in your life. And you should have control over some of these things, right? Now, granted, you can't control everything and you can't control other people, but you can make decisions and plans ahead of time that will make it much, much easier to deal with things as they shift around you. The thing you don't want to do yourself as someone who has big plans for a more healthy, vibrant body or whatever else you're planning on doing with your life, you don't want to be reactive, right? One of the worst things you can do for yourself physically is like hop from diet trend to diet trend, challenge to challenge. This is the hero's way, right? This is the reactive way, is to be constantly just like pinging back and forth between whatever diet trend is coming across your news feed or whatever the Kardashians are doing or any of that BS. You want to make sure that you're being proactive, that you have it thought out ahead of time. Like, okay, this is my plan. I'm going to execute on my plan for like 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks before I make any changes to it. And I'm going to decide how I'm going to make that easier in my life, right? You do things like saying, okay, I'm going to make sure that my fridge has all of the food that I need for my supervillain plan of the nutrition plan that I'm on. I'm going to make sure that I have a plan for if I'm stranded someplace and I need to get my food at a gas station or I need to buy a food at a restaurant. What I'm going to do in that moment is thought out ahead of time. This is so important. In this moment, when you're actually at the gas station making that decision, if somebody from the outside looking in were to look at you, they would call it willpower. They would say that person has good willpower. Look at them. They're getting a banana and a protein bar at the gas station. They've got willpower. But that is totally inaccurate, mischaracterization completely. Willpower is absolute bullshit. Okay. Willpower is what people call a thing when they don't know what it is. Willpower is plans in action, but it's not something that you can do spontaneously. Well, you can do it a little bit spontaneously, but it comes from a source of creativity and planning. If you are a creative person, you are at a huge advantage for becoming a supervillain. If you are a creative person, you are at a huge advantage for making good plans and then getting to the point where you can make spontaneous plans in the moment. Although this is not ideal, this does happen. There was a study that was done on willpower specifically that is frequently cited, the marshmallow test, the marshmallow study, where they took these kids and they put them in a room with a marshmallow. And the adult said, if you can not eat that marshmallow for the duration duration of time that I'm gone. Then when I come back, I will give you a second marshmallow, right? And this was designed to test the children's willpower. But when you actually look at the study, and they found that the kids who were able to resist the marshmallow and get the second marshmallow, those kids did better in like school studies and different areas of their life later on. And they attributed it to willpower. But here's my argument against the wording of that study. When they actually interviewed the kids and they said, how were you able to resist eating the marshmallow? The ones that were looking at the marshmallow, maybe even tasting the little powdered sugar on the top of the marshmallow, who were touching the marshmallow, who couldn't leave the marshmallow alone, who were staring temptation in the face, those children failed. They ate the marshmallow. They did not get their second marshmallow. Right? And when we think of willpower, we think of it as being this staring temptation down, staring temptation in the face and resisting because your willpower is so strong. But that's not what happened with the children who resisted the marshmallow. They distracted themselves. They looked away. They thought of other things. They imagined an invisible force field around the marshmallow. They thought of the future. They thought of, doing something else. They distracted themselves from the marshmallow. They came up with a creative micro plan in that moment of how they were going to resist that marshmallow to get the second marshmallow. Those children are supervillains, okay? And sometimes this talent can be, somewhat born into you, I suppose, but it is something that you can learn, and you learn it through creativity and good planning. Okay. So when you go into this, when you see somebody with all of the good groceries in their grocery cart, when you see somebody who's going to the park every day, doing their exercise, when you see somebody who's very regimented about how they do things, they started off with a plan. And they executed on that plan long enough that everything around them started to bend to their will, started to support that plan. People began to expect the plan from them, thereby making those people that supervillain's crew of henchmen. The more people get used to your plans and understand that you have an agenda that you are going to create, execute on, follow through with, the less they're going to be reactive heroes at you, trying to change every little thing that you do, and the more that they are going to expect you to do what you do, thereby becoming your allies. Okay, so make sure that as you're embarking on any new habit changes, or if you're doing a major project, like you're moving to a different country or starting a new job or doing something else, doing a nutrition plan, doing an exercise plan, make plans and think and be creative. Like, oh, if I found myself in this weird situation, how would I react? If we're going hiking, what would I pack? If my schedule gets disrupted when I'm supposed to be at my workout, what is my fallback time? Right? If I have to miss my workout, if I work out Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and something happens on Monday, do I try to get it in the same day? Do I do it on a different day? Think about these things ahead of time, and you will be amazed at how easy it is to have the appearance of willpower when the time actually comes, because you have already thought about this. You don't have to both have the mental capacity to hold this new information that has caused a disruption in your life, whatever it was, and also be able to think of a plan around this new thing, right? Because the plan's already made. It's like, oh, if A happens, then I do B. If whatever it is, you want to make sure that you come up with plans, that you come up with scenarios. Your imagination is an amazing thing. The more creative you can be, the better. The more you can envision your future self doing things and how you would do them and plotting and planning for that, the better. This is the heart and soul of being a super villain. Villains plot and plan, knowing full well that there are going to be times where the plan is not perfect. Go figure, right? There's going to be times when the plan is not perfect, and that's okay. You're going to push through. There's going to be casualties. There's going to be fallout from a plan that is not perfect, and no plan is perfect. You're going to get out there, do it anyways, and then after a period of time, reassess. And you plan how much time too. Am I going to reassess after 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks? How long am I going to do this specific nutrition plan, this specific exercise program? What is a good time frame for that? Typically for fitness stuff, minimum 6 weeks, by the way. But you want to make sure that you're saying, okay, it is my plan to do this thing this way for 6 weeks or 8 weeks or whatever it is. And then if something's just not freaking working for me, then I make a new plan. You're allowed to change your mind. You're allowed to make new plans. You're allowed to be creative. You're allowed to say F it to willpower. Willpower is not a thing that I'm messing around with, because you know what? It doesn't really exist. Like I said, it's what we call good planning when we don't know what else to call it, when we only see the magic of a plan unfolding and we don't see all the dirty back end work of a plan being plotted. Okay, so plot and plan, then execute your plan, and you will look like the most amazing willpowerful supervillain ever created. So yeah, enjoy it. Enjoy thinking about the future, about different scenarios and how you're going to puzzle it out, how you're going to work out the various kinks in your plan, and then execute it, see what happens, right? And the longer you do it, the longer you execute on a specific plan, the more allies you have, the more henchmen you will have, because they will see, oh, this person, they are strong and powerful, and they've got a good plan that they're doing over and over again. And to them, it might look like willpower, but that's okay. We'll let them in on the secret later, all right? And in the meantime, ignore the heroes swooping in and telling you what to do. You can feedback is important. You can take that feedback and work on it later on your next planning cycle, but don't just change what you're doing based on whoever's saying whenever, right? You want to make sure that it is for you that you are planning. Okay. If you want help planning, if you want to do this thing, then go to www.thenerdgym.com. I will happily share my plans with you. I will happily help you create your own plans. And thenerdgym.com, we are like an online fitness gym. We do Zoom classes. We have meal plans. We have all kinds of stuff to help you plan effectively with plans that have been proven time and time again, so that you can execute on them and become your own best supervillain, so that you have support from other creative, interesting people. And it's, that creativity, that imagination, especially important if you don't identify as like your typical fitness bro or cardio chick or whatever, the typical tropes of people. For some folks, that being that person is exciting and interesting, right? Being the gym fitness person is exciting and interesting, or the sports fitness person, whatever it is. But if you're like into other stuff, you got to be creative, right? And this is part of the reason why I love being a supervillain, because all of my favorite TV movie characters are supervillains, and it is absolutely true that they plot and they plan and they execute, and yes, sometimes it ends in tears, but they always push forward something that disrupts the status quo, and I love that. I love me a good supervillain. So I want that for you. It's way more fun than being reactive. It's way more fun than being a hero and just constantly trying to put out fires, to plan how to create the fire. Yes. All right. So if you're not already a member of the Nerd Gym, go ahead and join us. Super fun, live online Zoom classes and all that. And also subscribe if you enjoy this type of content. I do long format monologue videos like this one right here, as well as shorts for recipes and exercise and different things like that. And yeah, I want you to have fun in your body. I want you to be your own best supervillain, and I want you to really experience the joy of being able to execute on a beautiful plan and make change in your world and make change in your life. So yeah, let me know in the comments what your supervillain persona is, or what kind of plotting and planning you're doing this week for yourself. And I will see you next time. I am Coach Melanie Black signing off. Have a beautiful, lovely day. Bye.